Welcome. I extend a special greeting to newcomers and a warm and cheerful reception to the old familiar faces. As you know, in these hallowed halls of the bazaar, almost anything is possible. And so hopefully what comes next won't be too much of a shock for you. Our story is called My Backyard Dinosaurs, a weird Jurassic jaunt through the Natural History Museum of the Nightfall radio show. Now, before I get started with this, let me tell you right now, don't bother asking about where I live or make any attempt through social media or other means to try and track down this location. If you do, you'll be lucky if law enforcement gets you first. And trust me, with all of the black helicopters buzzing around here and the unmarked SUVs lurking about, you wouldn't get far anyway. So let me get to the point. The crazy-ass, incomprehensible, shocking point. I have dinosaurs in my backyard. Now, before you start rolling your eyes, let me try to explain. Last year in early autumn, I was out in the front yard raking leaves into little piles to burn. Now understand, the way that my house is situated, the backyard fence forms a border with a small stretch of trees that in turn borders with one of the back roads. Anyway, on that particular day, as I was raking, a strange feeling came over me. I couldn't explain it or quantify it, but I also couldn't deny it or ignore it. Something was happening in the back. And right at that moment, I heard a sound that almost shook me out of my shoes. The roar of a large animal. And I was like, what the fuck? And when I got around to the back, I stopped dead in my tracks. What I saw was some shit straight out of Land of the Lost. It was a goddamn dinosaur, walking on two legs and probably 15 feet tall. And based on what I've read and seen online, it was an Allosaurus, which by all rights should have gone extinct 145 million years ago. But now here's the thing. It seemed to appear out of nowhere, take a few steps, and vanish. But I don't mean like seeing a ghost, just appearing and then dissolving into nothing. But it seemed to step out of something, and then a few seconds later, step back into it. Now, subsequently, I had almost identical sighting scenarios of the spike-tailed, plated Stegosaurus and the crazily armored and club-tailed Ankylosaurus. Now, it's interesting to note that both Stegosaurus and Ankylosaurus coexisted with Allosaurus during the late Jurassic period. I mention that because a few people have suggested or theorized that my backyard may sit on a temporal vortex, or some kind of doorway in and out of time, so to speak, and that maybe these creatures unknowingly wander in and out, and that's why they can be seen for a few seconds. Now, if any part of that is true, it would also explain the black helicopters and the strange phone calls in the middle of the night with no one on the other end. So that's the story. And it's still going on, by the way. I've even seen a few that I can't identify, but then we only know a fraction of the species that existed at that time. Only what we've seen so far on the fossil record. So who knows what may show up in my backyard next?